my intention for today, and in particular, this talk that we're having, I had the thought that this audio can live on longer than we do because it's evergreen, right?
Mm.
So my intention was that anyone that hears this recording, no matter when in space and time it happens, that it either unlocks or unblocks for that particular person that's listening. That was my
Mm.
intention in this talk and this share. And I was so excited about it because I'm like, I could be gone tomorrow. This will live on. And if someone else hears it, if they hear even a little something that's going to unblock them or unlock them, that helps them move into a higher dimension of themselves, then blessings to us all.
Yeah,
I
that's
love
dope.
that.
That's dope. That's dope. Yeah,
So,
so I was doing a little research. I want to say, what was that, Wednesday, when it just came to me in the shower, like, yeah, this is something that we actually really really need to talk about because people get a little confused, right? Some people are like, "Oh, intention is goals, and goal, or intention is praying," and I was like, I don't think it's that. Intention is more, is definitely
yeah.
more than that. So what came to me, as I was researching, and I had to write it down or write it down in my phone because I will forget, is this the saying, right? And it said, I found this in an article, and it said, setting and living your intentions allows you to focus on who you are in the moment. So be present, be now, right? That's what stuck out to me.
Mm.
To recognize and live your values, right? And to raise your emotional energy, which in turn raises your physical energy.
I love
So
everything about that.
yeah, yeah. So like what you just said, everything that you just said was wrapped up in those three sentences. Cause I was like, it's funny that she just gonna say what I just was like, oh my God, I read this. I agree. But that's one thing. That's so crazy. That's one thing that like really, really just resonated with me. And as far as my intention, like I didn't really set any for today because I was just kind of like, I'm gonna prepare my mind, get this meditation on, prepare my mind for this podcast because I thought it was just gonna be me and Nini, and then you showed up and I was like, oh okay, that's actually cool. But one intention that I was kind of setting was just kind of like um just letting this evolve, right? Because Nini's evolving and growing, and I'm evolving and growing, and sometimes I feel like I stagnate, or maybe I don't know. It just feels weird until like the intention that I was setting was just okay. Let this conversation be ever building, and we just continue to build upon the next topic and the next topic and the next topic, and just kind of
Mm.
find our groove. So it's funny that you say that. But my question for
Go
you,
figure.
huh?
Yeah, I said, go figure.
I know, right? That's so crazy.
That's
That's so
that's
crazy.
Sagittarius energy.
Yeah,
That's what
for
But
it
we
sure.
didn't
is.
even know. But we didn't even
I
know,
know,
so
but
you can't
I
claim
said the
it.
Sagittarius energy though.
That's funny.
Yeah,
That
we
is
can't we
funny.
can't claim it because we didn't even know.
That is so funny.
So, can you, Robin, um, just kind of explain the purpose of being intentional in regards to relationships, and
Mm.
I'll ask you a follow up question after you kind of answer that one.
Okay, so I really like that one concerning relationships because I was a person that was known as having a lot of friends, but that wasn't the truth. That was what I told myself. Those were one sided. So when I was really awakened to my spirituality, I realized that I was more interested in cultivating meaningful connections more so than a person that has a long list of, oh, all these people are my friends. And when I start approaching those relationships, like, is this meaningful? Do we actually have a connection? Or is it maybe one sided? It was amazing to me how many relationships went away. And it wasn't anything that I had to do. It just happened because I started having intention of why those people were in my life. And that changed everything.
Yes.
And I also had to be okay with people saying you changed or you switched up or you're different.
Preach.
I had to be okay with that because that was what was supposed to happen. And so it was like, that doesn't bother me. That was actually wonderful to hear, because my intention behind relationships mean if there isn't a meaningful connection, then I no longer have the energy to pour into it just to say that it's a friend. And it didn't matter if it was friend, family, it didn't matter. If it wasn't a meaningful connection, then I didn't have to do anything. I didn't have to make a declaration and cut it off. It just happened naturally because the vibration. So that goes back to the law of vibration. If you'll notice our mirrors and the people that are around us, we all share a similar vibration. But when it starts going up here, and if that person is still vibrating down there, there's nothing that you have to do. It's going to naturally release itself.
And seeing that's wild. And I don't want to get off topic, but that is so wild that you say that, because I thought, like that I actually had to do stuff because, I was still feeling that low vibrational energy from those, like those relationships that I was just kind of, setting my intention to, move a little bit different. And I literally like moved into this first part. Actually, New Year's, I was just like, I need to go through this whole ceremony to where I write their names on this brown paper bag and burn them up. And I'm glad that I did, because, that was actually like, to me, part of the grieving process, because I feel like even though, the energy in those relationships kind of fall off, me personally, like I grieved those relationships, right? Because even though I called it to myself, even though they weren't good experiences, I recognize, the role that I played in those relationships. And I felt like it was, like a part, like I actually needed to grieve that so I wouldn't repeat and just mark it as a day. I don't know. I just literally felt that I needed to do it. But that's like so confirming that you said, no, you don't even got to do nothing. They just kind of fall off. So yeah, that, man, oh my God.
Oh, but Bree, you just helped me. You just helped me, because I have to tell you, Nikita and I spoke about this earlier this week. It was her sharing something that helped me recognize that some of those relationships that fell off, I'm not a cold-hearted person. Regardless of my responsibility in them, I was grieving them. And it wasn't until I spoke with her that I understood that I was still grieving those relationships, even though that I knew they didn't serve me anymore. Yeah. And so just to hear you say that, to know that that is natural and normal, it's refreshing, because regardless of how we elevate, I mean, we were emotionally involved at some level with those people. So allowing the grief to be there and knowing that, I even told myself just this morning, there will come a time where this isn't on your mind every day, where you're not still thinking about it. And it's okay that today is not that day, or it could be, but just giving myself permission to be okay with you're grieving it, but that doesn't mean you have to go back there. Right. It doesn't mean that you have to revisit it or I mean, I just love that you said that. And thank you, Nikita, for helping me see that this week. All of that, y'all. I appreciate it.
How much have you helped me see this week? We're even going to get into that. But, what was one thing I want to say? I think it was you, Robin, but you kind of touched on it too, Jabri, is just a relationship that we allow ourselves to be in, those relationships that are not meaningful. Or I'm not going to say they're not meaningful, because all relationships are meaningful, but they don't kind of resonate or they don't fit with us. We're just in a relationship or, connected to that person and involved with that person because we want to feel like we have a tribe, or we want to feel like we have that connection, and that we have, those friendships. And that is something that I'm having to really deal with and work through, because like I'm at a place in my life where I don't really have a lot of friends, and I want that connection. I want, that tribe and those people that I can reach out to and do things with and talk to and just fellowship with and bullshit with and all of that. And so I'm seeking that, and the universe, I don't know why I keep bringing me these bullshit ass people. And it's like I'm giving them the benefit of the doubt, or I'm trying to kind of force it when it doesn't feel natural. You know what I mean? Like when you and I, Robin, when we kind of reconnected, like it always felt natural. You know what I mean? Like, and so what advice would you give? Because you said that you had a huge circle, and as you begin to evolve and you begin to like kind of go within, like you started losing a lot of those people. Like, what advice could you give for me, for someone like me that is in that stage right now that is trying to, find those meaningful connections and people
Both of
that,
us.
really, well, yeah, you too, Jabri, then. I didn't know
Yeah,
you were,
both
because
of
we're like
us.
in monotony right now. But me and Jabri and everybody else that are trying to like build that tribe and those meaningful connections, but we keep getting shit.
Yes.
And that's shit. Like the people aren't shit, but it's not like what feels very natural.
And it's
I
like
think
low
it's a part of the process.
vibrational. You think so?
Mm.
You said what,
I
Robin?
said
I
it's
think
I
low.
said,
Oh, go ahead. My bad.
I
I
said, I
heard you,
think it's a
Jabri.
part of the process, but she said it's
Okay.
low
Vibration.
vibrational.
Okay.
And I'm curious about that because I know what the law says, right? That we draw in our own vibrational matches. So I would be curious about the process that you're undergoing in order to draw those people to you.
So we're low vibrational.
I
Well,
don't think
no, I wouldn't say that
so.
at all. No, I don't think that, and I wouldn't say that at all. But I do know when you're doing the work,
Yeah.
just like it took a while to get where you are, it takes a while to get back. So even if you're collecting similar energies, I think that's just for your own spiritual perspective to say, oh, because now you can discern it a lot better and a lot quicker than you
Yes.
probably could in the past. So everything happens for us, not to us.
Right.
Everything.
Mm-hmm.
So I would never say, oh, that means you're a low vibrational person. I would say that is showing up because it's kind of like showing you where you are. It's for
Yeah.
you. So even the ones that won't stick, even the ones that are not helpful right now, it's just to show you how much you've evolved because now you can evaluate it versus just hanging on to it.
Mhm.
Everything happens for you, not to you. And I'm gonna tell you, I had to adopt that
That's
line of thinking because one of the closest relationships to me that I no longer have, that I was grieving. If you are familiar with Conversations with God, Donald Neil Walsh.
That's my
Oh
Bible,
yeah.
girl.
Yeah, that's both
Yeah,
our
that was my
Bibles.
first Bible. I have a new one now, but that was my first Bible, part 1, 2, and 3. I
Yeah.
got to show you guys my version of it. I don't know if y'all have mine. Literally looks like a Bible. It's a hardcover. It's all 3.
Oh yeah,
Doing
the
too
big
much.
one. Yeah,
Doing too much.
my
Yes.
mom has that one too, but
Yes.
I stole
Well,
it. She had
but
to buy a new one.
let me tell you, he wrote a children's book called The Little Soul in the Sun. And in this children's book, Donald Neil Walsh tells this story of pretty much these souls living in paradise. There is no polarity. All they know is good, happy vibes, great experiences. And this little soul says to the other soul, I wonder what it's like to feel hate or to be angry. Because again, all they know is this high vibrational stuff. And he just keeps inquiring. I want to know what that feels like. I want to know what that feels like. And in the book, the sun is represented kind of as God. So these two souls make an agreement with each other that he is going to lower himself, one of the souls, and lower his vibration so that his friend can experience the polarity because all they've ever known is good. And then in the book, the little soul says to the other soul, to his friend, but when I spite you, I want you to remember who I really am. Because they have made a pact and an agreement that I'm going to hurt you because this is what you've asked for. But when I do, you're going to feel it. And I want you to remember who I am.
That's in the book too.
Yeah.
I guess he made a spin-off and added to it, but yeah,
yeah. Yeah, he wrote it as a children's book because sometimes we don't really understand things. But I had to take that perspective into those relationships that I mentioned I was grieving. Because ultimately, we're all one. And if I, in any way, shape, form, or fashion, think that I am higher than anyone because I'm at some spiritual level and someone else is at a different level, then I've just made another form of Christianity and created separation. We're all the same. And so if it's a soul that spite me, or if it's a soul that's elevated beyond me, or if it's a soul I don't look at it comparatively. Right. We're all souls. We're all light. So even those people whose vibrations may not match where I am right now, I can still look at them with light and love and know that that's a soul just like me. And it stops me from being critical, judgmental, or creating that separation that is very easy for spiritual people to do. I can just look at them